Favorite games here on The Jumps. Oh, yes, you know it. Something, nothing, or everything. First, Adrian Wojnarowski reporting NBA and players are negotiating the possibility of an all-star game on March 7th in Atlanta. Chris Paul reportedly wants to use the game to provide support to HBCU schools. COVID-19 relief. Remember, the league previously canceled the original all-star game festivities in Indianapolis. Matt, do you think the NBA, considering bringing back an all-star game in a pandemic, is something, nothing, or everything?
I think it's everything. I think they'll keep, obviously, safety first. And with Chris Paul, the head of the Players Association, he's always thinking ahead. So obviously, it's a great cause for the HBCUs in the COVID relief, but also for the guys that it possibly could be their last or someone's first. You know what I mean? So you never want to take those moments away. Some people are never fortunate enough to make it. So I agree. Obviously, keeping safety first is at the utmost. But, the fans love it. And the games themselves have been so amazing lately. I would love to see an all-star game.
I totally agree with Matt. This is everything. And I think the one thing that it really is going to be impressive if they're able to do anything for the HBCUs, because I know this is a passion of Chris Paul's, and for the NBA to step up, especially during this time of Black Lives Matter movement, it'll be the perfect platform for you to just say, hey, look at us. This is what's going on in the country still, but we want to show our support for the HBCU and, more importantly, for the COVID-19 people who are supporting that and helping out with that.
And the fact that it's in Atlanta, the blackest city, the black city of the United States. Atlanta, you know what I mean? So it's a perfect setting, and like I said, for the reasons, that Chris Paul laid out, I think it's a great idea.
Chris's support, of the HBCU movement and sort of what he's done to bring attention to, hey, it's not just these universities are here or the support they should get, but young athletes, guys from his AAU program directing them toward those schools has been really amazing. I appreciate all the reasons why everyone wants to have an all-star game this year, but I am concerned. I'm going to say, I don't think we can just gloss over health and safety here. And I sit here every day and I announce cancellation after postponement after postponement. And we have a situation here where we have 30 pods, in the NBA. And those pods in, say, the 2-week period, somebody may be exposed to COVID, is kind of what we look at, 10 days to whatever. They may interact with 1, 2, 3, 4 other pods, in games that they play. And we've seen the reaction of that, The Wizards, who got something maybe after contact with the Celtics, and then it knocks out their schedule, and then it knocks out someone else's schedule. That's when you're only mixing 3 or 4 pods in any given 10 to 14-day period. What happens when you are taking 20 guys, 24 guys from 20 different pods, putting them all together with no quarantine on the way in or on the way out, because the All-Star break is only 5 days, sticking them together in Atlanta, which, as you know, is a city that guys like. Are you telling them they have to stay locked in their hotel rooms the whole time? Are you telling them they can't interact with anybody?
The logistics will be tough, I think.
You're telling people they can't exchange jerseys or have handshakes or hugs because they're coming 2 separate pods between teams. Now you're going to stick 24 of them all together and then send them right back to their individual pods. So, look, the NBA has been fantastic on health and safety. I trust the leadership of the NBA. I really, really do. So if they have a plan for this, I am excited to hear it. But again, as someone who every day sits here and talks about COVID's impact on the league, I am curious how they would pull this off. And if they can, I'm thrilled to see it. If they can't, I hope there is another way that we can give money support to some of the causes that we just mentioned. They can always
just put it at the end of the season.
That too, absolutely. And I do love that Elon ending they did in the last game. It was so fun. I loved the All-Star game in Chicago. It was amazing. So I would sort of love to see it if safety can be taken into account for. All right, let's talk about the Nets beating the Heat for the second time in 3 days on Monday. But in those 2 games where Kyrie, KD, and Harden played, it was James that has taken the fewest shots, only 19 total in 2 games, along with 19 assists. Here's Harden's post-game describing this newfound balance for him.
I was in a role for 8 years, controlling the ball, dominating the ball. Now it's a different experience for me, but it's still great. You got to pick and choose when to be aggressive, when to get your shooters going, when, to let KD and Kyrie get going. Once we get a rhythm in that flow and we kind of start to feel, each other out more, our team will have a lot more flowing throughout the course of the game. Right now, we're trying to find it, and we show really good glimpses of it, but it'll be more consistent.
All right, so Robert Harden with as many assists as shot attempts against Miami. Do you think that's something, nothing, or everything?
I think I'm going to go with nothing on this one because this marriage is still in the honeymoon, and he's still trying to figure things out. So I'm going to say nothing right now because they played the Heat without Jimmy Butler. They played a Heat that's a good team, but they're missing their top dog. So I'm gonna say nothing, because when you beat a team that doesn't have all this firepower and you still win, so I'm still gonna say nothing.
I think it's something from a standpoint of this is kind of the evolution of James. You know, we've saw, but if you think about it, his early days in OKC in the fourth quarter, he was the playmaker for Russ and KD. So this is the next step in James's evolution, and I like it. Everyone thought that Kyrie would be the third wheel at the second seat. Kyrie's moved to the scoring two guard in honor of Kobe. He's a scoring two guard. We know what KD does. So James is able to get everyone else going, but also get his shot at any other time. And like I said, I just think that's an evolution of him. My only concern about this team is on the defensive end, but offensively, they're playing against themselves, trying to get better every single night. So I don't really care about who the opponent is.
And you guys both know that progression, right? You've saw it in the league, both I'm sure with yourselves, but also with all the guys you came in contact with over the years. You start out just wanting to make it as an NBA player. Then as you get better, as James Harden did in Oklahoma City, we know there was a little bit of like, well, I could do this. I could start. I could have my own team. I could do these things. And then he spent years in Houston showing us that. The MVP, the individual accolades, the scoring titles, where he moved up in the record books behind Wilt in terms of per season averages. And then after a while, you're like, well, I really would like to win a title, and I'm going to sacrifice to that level to get to win one, and at least so far he's doing that.
I just wonder how long, like, it's good now, and he seems happy with it now. If it stays at this pace where he's getting 10 shots, 12 shots a game, I wonder if he can stay happy throughout the season, knowing that he's sacrificing for the greater of the team.
That's right. That's my thoughts. Because
you guys have seen that too. At the beginning, everyone's happy. A little honeymoon.
When that loss, the first loss or two losses in a row hit you, and you're like, hey, what about me?
We'll see. We'll find out. I now want to get to some very, very good news. The Pacers announced today Karis LeVert underwent successful surgery to treat renal cell carcinoma that was on his left kidney. That was first detected during a physical when Karis was traded to Indiana from Brooklyn. No further treatment needed. Karis is expected to make a full recovery, although he will be out indefinitely. He said that he thinks this trade could have saved his life, guys, that he would never have had this thorough a physical just randomly in the middle of the season. And this kind of cancer can spread quickly. So it's pretty remarkable, and certainly remarkable of the Pacers to say they found this out and they didn't void the trade. They said, we believe in him, we want to keep him, we know he will eventually be healthy, and we want him on the team.
Yeah, praying for him and his family right now. Cancer's no joke. I lost my mom to it, so this trade was a blessing in disguise for him.
Yeah, it's a huge blessing, because think about it. When you get traded to someone, they're going to do an in-depth physical.
Different.
And it's so happy they did it, because he was playing and putting up numbers in Jersey.
So,
and so it was a blessing in disguise. I'm so happy that he's going to be fine and he can get back on the court and showing us the very talented athlete that he is.
Yes, congratulations to him and his family. We are, as Matt says, thinking of him. All right, coming up, a man who played against Kobe in the NBA 37 times. Zach Randolph joins the Jub to talk his memories of Kobe and the inspiration he provided to Zebo as a father.